want to start by thanking the members of the community for choosing me to be your second board representative for the last 14 months. It's been my pleasure to serve you, and I thank you for the opportunity. This board has accomplished so much in such a short time, and we've worked together diligently to create solutions and policies that benefit this town. When I chose to take on this responsibility, I did it for only two primary reasons. One, to serve my neighbors in my community, and two, to preserve and enhance this town so that my son has a great place to grow up and call home. These are still my goals and my intentions, and I encourage any members of the second ward to reach out to me directly if they have anything that they would like me to bring forward to this board. Thank you.
Thank you. Third ward. So two things. The third ward community group meeting is April 20th, 6:30 p.m. at the Mandeville Fire Department. It's address the issues with the videos. That is something that I was spearheading and put to the wayside, but that is something I will be discussing with the board on how we can go about that further. We do have the capabilities of it, so even if I have to figure out how to use the equipment myself, until we find somebody, I have no problem doing that. I just need to make sure that we have the ability of posting it in various places so that we can get that ball rolling. Oh, and then also as well, the Civic Center, as far as the new community center that we're looking at, there are some preliminary renderings that we do have here tonight that you can check out, and there's going to be a lot more information on that coming throughout this summer.
Fourth word?
Well,
All right. I have, I guess, a few comments just to help clarify. For the folks that are upset about the grant application for Mr. Cicerelli, I would just like to first clarify that the county did not vet every single one of these. The county awarded $1.25 million to the town. The town's job is to administer the grant. The town actually has a contract with an individual who is our grant coordinator. She's the one that coordinates all of the grants, receiving the applications, looking through the applications, working with the grant applicants, and working with me on the projects we feel are going to be the best for the community. Me personally, I have no conflict with Mr. Cicerelli's grant. That's why his grant was included in the overall package to the county for the $1.25 million. Onondaga County, unfortunately, requires the towns to administer that money. If one of the grant applicants fails to do their project, the liability falls on the town, the liability falls on you, the taxpayer. So to protect us and to protect the taxpayers, our attorney suggested that we take the same contract that we signed with the county and make that contract with the individual awardees, so that way if they do not do their project and the county comes after us, we are able to pass that liability on to them, so that way they have to pay that money back, so that way you, the taxpayer, aren't one on the hook. Ultimately, I won't speak for the other 4 board members. I'm only one person and I only have one vote. But it is likely, it seems, and I think we could draw this conclusion, that there is the idea or look or quite possibly a very real conflict of interest between contracting with a sibling of one of the board members. No other board member up here, we contract with any of their family members. In fact, one of the first things this town board did when we became a board was pass a nepotism law in an attempt to make sure that we didn't wade into any of this gray area. Again, Mr. Cicerelli to my left here, the third ward councilor, recused himself, but he was advised, and it's my understanding he was advised to not make any public comments for or against the grant. He did make comments on Facebook and other social media settings, and then he made further comments afterwards. Nonetheless, it was the board's decision to say whether or not we wanted to risk this possible conflict of interest, and they decided not to vote on it. So I hope that gives a little bit more clarity of why we end up having a contract with the individuals who are getting the money. Mattydale itself is not going to lose out. There's still the money available. We have 2 applications currently right now, one of them being the Mattydale American Legion, and the other one being the Hollywood Theater. Those, I think, are 2 projects that would be pretty dang good for the community if we could see those buildings get enhanced. And again, I actually had an hour and a half long meeting this past week with Dominic Cicerelli. We had a very good conversation. I told him that I would support him contacting the county directly, so that way it doesn't have to go through the town, and ask if the county would give him the money instead of going to the town. And I said, you can CC me on the email and say if the supervisor thinks it would be a good project. I'll also end with this, with regards to that project, no matter if you get grant money or not, I think that you should go ahead and continue to fix up the building. It's what Mattydale needs, and I support any individuals that's looking to try to make the Mattydale community a better community. One of Mr. Cicerelli's, Jerry, email states about ARPA money. So I would like to just make a point about ARPA money that quickly for the public. Just a quick aside, I'd like to thank a member of the public for actually video recording this meeting. These meetings are welcome to be video recorded by anybody. They can be live streamed by anybody. Third Ward Councilor and I have had many conversations about finding somebody from the public that would be willing to volunteer and record these meetings. He suggested that we find a high school student who would do it as an internship. Anybody from the public can video record these meetings, and I encourage it. So again, thank you to a member of the public for actually doing that. But again, so ARPA funds. There was $450,000 that was spent on the Burnham Park Capital Fund project. $450,000 that was spent in the Mattydale community to improve Burnham Park. It included fixing up the football building that was there. It included fixing up parking lots that were over in that area, and it included fixing the entire field at almost every field in Burnham Park. There's still $150,000 available in that capital fund, and that's because it's the town's intention to try to add a walking trail around the exterior of that park. So that's $450,000 directed for Burnham Park. $375,000 is in the community center capital project. Again, another $375,000 directed to the Mattydale community. That money was used to purchase the property, which we purchased in October, where we will be building the new community center. We got the renderings, the initial draft renderings of that just Friday last week, so I'm happy that we have them here. Additionally, there was $500,000 that was given to home headquarters for a 1% loan. That was first restricted for, I believe, a month to just the communities of Galville, Maincourt, and Mattydale. I believe 7 houses in Mattydale took advantage of that and are fixing up their homes to add value to the neighborhood, to that specific community. We do have a $70,000 Dewar Park Pavilion and Bathrooms capital project. That's not in Mattydale, no, that's in the First Ward. And that project's about to be completed, the pavilion's up, the ADA compliant playground is fixed, and they actually are just finishing the walkways amongst the fields. That way it's easier for elderly folks to be able to go and watch the ball players play on the field. The last project right now that's out there that we are actually spending money on, many of you walk through, and that's the town clerk's improvement. After the first renovation of Town Hall, we discovered that the hallway between the clerk's office and the assessor's office was not wide enough. There were people on each side of it. We couldn't get somebody with a wheelchair through that hallway. Many residents came into my office and voiced their frustration with the fact that they were talking to somebody and everybody in the hallway could hear them. And this was a community-driven project to fix the clerk's office. A lot of that money will be rolled back over. And the latest announcement, that money is not allocated yet, but it's about to be, is the Old Liverpool Road Main Street Fund, similar to what was done in Mattydale. The town felt that that was a good project for the community of Mattydale, and we would like to see a similar type Main Street Fund to help the Galville community. If you take a trip down the Liverpool Road, you would see a lot of buildings that are in need of a lot of love. And we're hoping that we'll be able to replicate the success of what occurred at Mattydale to the success of the Galville corridor. So anyways, on that note, there are a lot of positive things I think this town board is doing. Folks that have been at these board meetings have been able to be witness to a lot of the positive things we've been doing. I'm proud of a lot of the things that we've accomplished. I encourage any and all of you to come to my office, as I always do, and call me, sit down and meet with me, have a conversation with me, and brainstorm with me, so that way we can come up with ideas together to make sure that the town of Salina continues to thrive, continues to become a better place to live, and continues to be a place that we can all be proud of. So, with all of that said, on the most serious note of everything, This community and this town government lost somebody very dear and very important recently. Our former clerk, Jeannie Ventry, and her husband, who was the town attorney for many, many years. And Jerry, you were on this board when Bob was actually when Bob was the attorney. And I was fortunate enough to be one of the members of the board for my first year out here when Bob was the attorney. Unfortunately, Bob has passed away. He had been struggling for a while. So if I can ask the audience for a moment of silence in honor of Bob Ventry and his memory, and also thoughts for Jeannie Ventry and her family as well. Thank you. Okay, now I'm done talking, and we will get to business for the town.